be discussing on some important concepts and some important current affairs or schemes from Assam budget. So, Mohan, how's your studies going on, or doing something else?
So these days, I'm not studying that much,
You revise the
like
notes?
taking,
Yeah.
revising the notes, yes, sir, at night, but not how like before the exam.
Okay, okay. Okay. You still have some time. Anyways, so we will go on with a little bit on the budget. Yesterday we did a little bit on the budget questions, and also I hope you know what to read now from the budget. I have given the PDF as well. Okay. So this is in front of your screen. This is the speech made by Assam Finance Minister last term, Janta Neok. So she made this speech. Okay. Now, what are the important things? I will show you what to read. Some important concepts are also there. Okay. For example, here again the mention of 16th Finance Commission. Are you guys reading 16th Finance Commission? What are the provisions under 16th Finance Commission? Can anyone tell me? At least one, two. At least one, two. Can anyone tell me the key provisions inside 16th Finance Commission? Nobody? On what basis Finance Commission, or what is the article that gives Finance Commission the constitutional provision? Can anyone tell
So
me?
Article 280. Article 280.
Article 280 gives Finance Commission. Who is the chairman of Finance Commission this term? 16th Finance Commission. Who is the chairman?
Sir, Dr. Arvind Kibata আছে.
So please read 16th Finance Commission. Okay, I have given all the information in the class notes itself. So go through 16th Finance Commission. You should be at least well versed, okay? Because the criteria, forest, ecology, and all those can be asked for prelims. All right, there are certain criteria. Okay, so please go through that. All right. Then we have this state's gross state, gross state domestic product. So state GDP, basically, state GDP has been expanded by 45% between 2019 to 2024-25. Okay, so we have shown a growth, and we have outperformed the national average growth of 29%. National average growth was 29%. With state GDP, we have at 45%. So we are growing as per the finance minister, the last finance minister. All right. So our total is estimated at 8,71,451 crore. Okay, for this year. Okay, for this year they are estimating 8,71,451 crore for this year. Okay, this financial year. All right. These are some key information that you can mark, but not very important, as the data is not very much used, in prelims, unless you get a, direct questions. Okay, so state is poised to become a 10 lakh crore or 1 million crore economy by 2028. That's what the government is projecting. Okay, our per capita income has also increased. Okay, from 86,000 or 87,000 in pandemic time to now 1,85,000. Okay, per capita income. Can anyone tell me what is per capita income? We did this in economy. Per capita income.
প্ৰত্যেকজন ইণ্ডিভিজুৱেলৰ ছাৰ যিটো ইনকাম হয় ইয়েৰলি ইনকাম
Okay. How do you calculate per capita income?
টোটেল প্ৰডাকশ্যন বাই পপুলেশ্যন আছে নেকি
Per capita income? Amount of money earned. Okay, amount of money earned by what?
টোটেল পপুলেশ্যন
By the GDP actually. Okay, by the GDP. Or if you, for example, sorry, if you have the total GDP of a state, okay, if you have the total GDP of the state, you divide it by the total population, as Prince has said. So what is our projected GDP for this year, financial year? 8 lakh something, right? So you divide it by the total number of people in the state. So how much we have? Anyone knows the population of Assam? The total population of Assam?
ছাৰ 3.2 crore
3.2 crore around. Okay, so that is per capita income. Please keep all this data and all these basics cleared. Okay, what is per capita income and all, right? Then we are also seeing, okay, we are also seeing that we have been benefited from this special assistance to states for capital investment by the central government. Okay, so we have received over 25,000 crore during the last 5 years in special assistance by the central government. Okay, then debt to GDP ratio of the state stands at 25.52%. What was debt to GDP ratio? Can anyone remembers? Debt to GDP ratio.
ছাৰ গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ ধাৰটো মানে কম্পেয়াৰ টু GDP
Yeah, that is debt to GDP ratio. We are at 25.52% in the last financial year, okay, so we are at 21st position among 28 states. Okay, among 28 states we are at 21st position. All right, fine. Our debt to ratio is at 25.52%. So this one it can be asked as a prelims level question. Okay, this data ranking and the number. Okay, but we move down to here, that Numaligarh Refinery Limited has been accorded Navratna status. What is Numaligarh Refinery? Golaghat. Okay, so we know Numaligarh Refinery is one of the reputed companies that we have, or public sector undertaking that we have in Assam. Now, instead of understanding what is Navratna, we'll see how this Indian government gives Ratna status for public sector undertaking. Okay, for what purpose? For providing them with greater operational and financial autonomy to make them more efficient. So there are 3 categories of Ratna in the country. The top one is called Maharatna, the second one is called Navratna, and the third one is called Mini Ratna. Okay, so each of the status differs. They have specific eligibility criteria, and they have also very varying degrees of financial and operational freedom. Okay, so the degree of operational freedom is different according to the status. So we'll understand one by one. First of all, Maharatna status. Okay, Maharatna, let's go from below so that we understand better. The first small category is Mini Ratna category, from below. Mini Ratna category number 2. So the companies, the public sector, this is only for public sectors. Okay, and so companies that make profit in the last 3 years continuously, okay, and they have a positive net worth. Okay, positive net worth. They do not default in repayment or loans or interest to government. Okay, fine. They are called as Mini Ratna category number 2. So simple eligibility criteria, 3 years you have to show profit, and your net worth should be in positive, and you should not have any default of loans or interest to the government. Okay, fine. That is Mini Ratna number 2. So what powers do you get under this? You incur a capital expenditure up to 300 crore or 15% of net worth, whichever is lower in a single project. Okay, whichever is lower, 300 crore or 15% of your net worth, whichever is lower in a single project. Okay, then on top of Mini Ratna, after you get Mini Ratna 2, you get Mini Ratna 1. Again, last 3 years you have to show profit continuously, positive net worth, same criteria. Okay, same criteria. Okay, however, it will extend. So this 3 years plus 3 years, right? After you get Mini Ratna 2, again after for 3 years you are doing the same, your criteria is the same, then you get Mini Ratna 1. Okay, you incur a capital expenditure up to 500 crore or 30% of your net worth in a single project. Okay, in a single project. However, total investment in all projects should not exceed 50% of the net worth in a year. So if you have 100 rupees net worth, you will get 30 rupees worth of money for a single project. Okay, fine. It should not exceed 50%. That's what the condition is. Okay, that is Mini Ratna 1. Then after you have been Mini Ratna, you have Navratna. Okay, Navratna. So you are categorized as a scheduled A, central public sector enterprise, or public sector enterprises. Okay, then you should have an excellent or very good memorandum of understanding rating for the last 3 years. Okay, for the 3 of last 5 years you should have very good MOU. Okay, very good MOU. You should score at least 60 plus out of 100 in all the indicators that are there, that is net profit, net worth, etc., related to a company. So once you get this Navratna status, you can incur a capital expenditure up to rupees 1000 crore or 15% of your net worth, whichever is lower. Okay, whichever is lower. Total investment should not exceed 30%. Okay, and then you can enter into technology, joint ventures, and strategic alliances also. So you get this a little bit of power when you have Navratna status. Fine. After Navratna, yeah.
So I to say MOA point to deal side measurement
For example, when they do a lot of MOUs with different companies or anything, so the other company they analyze annually, like whether this MOU worked or not, right? Or maybe within 3-4 years they'll analyze. For example, Karbi Anglong Council will also have so many MOUs, right, with different brands or companies or public sector. So they will see if the project has done wonderful or not. Okay, so if they are a good project, they'll get very good or excellent status. Okay, fine. So that is the rating. That is the rating, how they do. So you should, for Navratna status, we remember you should have at least 3 of the last 5 years in a very good or excellent MOU rating. Okay, then score also should be 60 plus out of 100 in performance indicators. Okay, in performance indicators. What is the financial autonomy, not very important for you to understand, but just know what is Navratna. Okay, then comes Maharatna, the first category. Okay, you have to have Navratna status to receive Maharatna status. So for Navratna status, you need to be in Mini Ratna category number 1. For Maharatna, you need to previously be a Navratna status holder. Okay, and your company, the public sector undertaking, should also be on Indian Stock Exchange. Okay, listed on Indian Stock Exchange. Your annual turnover average should be 25,000 crore for last 3 years. Okay, at least for 3 years, 25,000 crore of annual turnover you have to show. Okay, and annual net worth average should be at least 15,000 crore for last 3 years. And annual net profit average should be rupees 5,000 crore for the last 3 years. Plus, if you have global presence or international operations, then also you'll be considered for Maharatna status, right? Fine. So that is the difference between Maharatna and Ratna and Navratna status. So now Numaligarh can venture, or Numaligarh refinery can venture with other foreign companies, okay, directly, or they can have MOUs or maybe with a Japanese company, and if they have that international presence and their annual net worth is like 15,000 for the last 3 years, or annual income, average income is 25,000 crore in the last 3 years, of course they can be lifted to Maharatna status. All right, Maharatna status. So from India, it is your job to find out all the public sector undertakings. Okay, public sector undertaking means public sector companies or government companies like ONGC, oil, okay, then hydropower that we have, no. So you go through all these public sector companies, or you prepare a list of Maharatna status and Navratna status. We know one from Assam, Numaligarh. What about ONGC? You try to find out. What about Oil India Limited? You try to find out. Okay, so list out some of the Navratnas and Maharatnas in your as a homework when you prepare, so that you have the list in your hand before you go to examination. Okay, so please prepare that, and tomorrow I'll ask. All right, tomorrow I'll ask. Okay, fine. Next. Fine with this statuses. Any question? 1 minute I give you. Any question? All right, so please list out the number of companies that are under Maharatna status and Navratna status. These two only. Mini category, not very important. But if you see any Assam companies in mini category 1, so please try to remember that also for UPSC. All right. Then let's come to the next topic. The finance minister has said Assam has fortified a financial shield of nearly 10,000 crore held within our sinking and redemption funds. So this is a concept. What is a sinking and redemption funds? Okay, this is a concept. Sinking and redemption funds. Okay. Now sinking funds are some funds, all right, that the issuer, okay, for example, the government makes regular or predetermined contributions annually into a separate account. Okay, it is, for example, we are taking government as issuer, so government makes a regular and predetermined contribution annually into a separate account. It can be annually, it can be quarterly also. All right, these contributions are invested in low risk securities. Okay, these contributions are invested in low risk securities to earn returns and to grow the fund. Okay, to grow the fund. All right, fine. And once this fund reaches its limit, they can be used to buy a portion of outstanding bonds from the open market. So government will buy some bonds from the open market. Okay, fine. And then these funds are called call provision, meaning they can use this fund to call back or redeem a specific number of bonds at the predetermined price. Okay, after the fund ensures a lump sum, this is available to repay any loans, the principal of any loans that the government has. When the bonds mature, they can pay back with the money, the principal of any loans government takes. All right, government takes. So sinking funds can be mandatory. Okay, sinking funds can be mandatory or optional if the allowing issuer has flexibility. So what is sinking fund? What is the significance of sinking fund? When a government borrows or when a government has debts, okay, when government has a debt, okay, it needs to pay back the principal amount it borrowed. So they will invest some money into a separate account, into a low risk securities, okay, and once the fund is accumulated, they will buy back some, buy back some loans, okay, not loans, sorry, buy back some bonds, okay, the government securities bonds at a predetermined price, and they will, use this bond to pay the principal, okay, that is called sinking fund. All right, understanding what is sinking fund? Fine.
Sir, I remember.
So when government faces a debt, okay, when government faces a debt or a loan, or it has to repay some loan, so what will the government do is, for a, like, they know that for 5 years they have taken a loan, so to pay back the principal, they'll invest some amount from their account to a separate account, which will be invested at on a low risk securities. Okay, low risk securities means government securities or any securities that are available in the market, okay, that is bonds and all those things. So they will invest on some low risk where the money does not get lost completely, okay, and they will earn some interest on that, okay. Once that bond, whatever they're buying, matures, so they will use that money to pay back the principal of the loan that they have taken. All right, fine, that is called sinking fund.
Okay.
Sinking fund means the fund is being used to pay back something, okay, to pay back something. All right, that is sinking fund. Significance is it reduces default risk, so government or any issuer does not feel any default risk, okay. It lowers interest costs, all right, it lowers interest costs, okay, because if due to reduced risk, the issuers with sinking fund provisions may be able to borrow at a lower interest rates, okay. So when they show that they have sinking fund provisions, they might get lower interest rates. It also your debt, okay, it prevents a large sudden financial burden, okay, on the issuer, and it helps in market stability, okay, it helps in stability of market. That is sinking fund. The next term is called the redemption fund, okay, redemption fund, which is much broader than a sinking fund, okay, which is much broader than a sinking fund. So it refers to any fund set aside for the purpose of redeeming or buying back outstanding securities, particularly bonds or preference shares, okay. While a sinking fund is a specific type of redemption fund with a structured period, a redemption fund can be more flexible. So sinking fund itself is a type of redemption fund. That is why it is broader. Redemption fund, all sinking funds are redemption funds, but not all redemption funds can be sinking funds. Understanding? So they are of the same system, all right, they do the same work. However, redemption fund is more flexible, you have more flexibility, okay, while sinking fund operates on a structure, okay, it has a structure that, okay, this much money will put, this much money will be accumulated, and from that money we'll buy the bonds, all right, and then we'll pay back our principal. That is sinking fund. But redemption fund is a broader concept which is more flexible, okay, which is more flexible. Same process, almost the same process, however contributions are not rigid, okay, not rigid like the sinking fund, okay, not rigid as sinking fund, okay, fine, fine, the concept of sinking fund, fine, sinking and redemption. If you did not understand, please ask. If you did not understand till now, please ask. What is the document showing in Assam budget? Let's see, what is the document showing? Okay, what is the document showing? Let's understand from there. It's a reserve fund, it's a reserve money that is being used by the governments. For example, Assam government has reserve rupees 10,000 crore under sinking or redemption fund. Mane ki bujaise, Prince?
Sir, 10,000 crore to মানে থৈ দিছে পিছত যাতে মানে টাইমত পেমেন্ট কৰিব
ফোনটো
পাৰে।
আৰু ঘূৰাই দিব পাৰে বুলি loan।
Yeah. So this money has been accumulated from where? From buying or from, buying low risk investments on securities. Okay. This has been invested. Some amount was invested periodically. Okay. But now it has reached rupees 10,000 crore as reserve. So that whenever there is a loan movement or you have to pay loan or there is some emergency need, this money can be used. Okay, this money can be used. Fine. That is the concept of sinking and redemption fund. All right. Okay. Then all these peace accords have been done with militant organization, insurgent organizations like Alpha, Karbi, Adivasi, and your Dimasa groups. Okay. So this topic of your peace accords and all, I will have to do with the other class also. All right. I'll have to do with the other class. But for your information, this is available in PIB news also. If you Google Karbi Peace Accord 2021, right? Then if you type Adivasi Peace Accord, you'll find so many things. Okay, you'll find so many things on PIB itself. However, I have to discuss with the other class as well, so that is why I'm not putting it. So for example, I'll give you Karbi Peace Accord there is a written clause that Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council along with state government will initiate the institution of Karbi Welfare Council for Karbis living outside of Karbi Anglong. Okay, so they will have a welfare council where their needs and their development will be taken care of by the state government. So those are some clauses. All right, those are some clauses, and some amount of money has been granted for Alpha Peace Accord, around 5,000 crore for the development of these people, the cadres and all those who were former militants. Okay, so those are some peace accord. So we will not go now, we just understand the speech. Okay, so this peace treaty has been signed, peace accord has been signed. That's what the finance minister mentioned. So for example, here rupees 5,000 crore has been assigned under 2023 peace accord with Alpha, United Liberation Front of Assam, so that this money will be used for settlement and integration of this former militant groups. Okay, fine. All right, so this you can get that. Then the finance minister also mentioned that we have rolled back the Armed Forces Special Powers Act from Assam. Okay, we have rolled back the Armed Forces Special Powers Act of Assam. Can anyone tell me what is ASFA? Armed Forces Special Act.
Sir, আৰ্মিয়ে মানে পুলিচ নোহোৱাকৈ ডাইৰেক্ট একশ্যন ল'ব পাৰিছে।
Okay. In detail, you have to know Armed Forces Special Act. There was a question on Armed Forces Special Act also, last mains, I think. So, important topic, Armed Forces Special Act, particularly for Northeastern point of view. Why? Let's go to the origin of Armed Forces. So, it traces back to colonial era ordinance. Okay, so it did not come during independence. It was a colonial era ordinance. Okay. Okay, the adaptation happened post independence. All right, the adaptation happens after independence, and the colonial precedent was called the Armed Forces Special Powers Ordinance of 1942. Okay, 1942, to suppress the Quit India movement. So please mark this statement: Armed Forces Special Powers was used by the British to suppress the Quit India movement initially. Okay, initially. All right, history plus polity mixed right here, this statement. Okay, then post independence, what happens is similar type was promulgated in 1947 to deal with partition related violence. So initially, Armed Forces Special Power Act, began to suppress the Quit India movement. Then after independence, it was to deal with the partition related violence. We had so much violence, Hindu, Muslim, Sikhs, from Punjab areas were moving from up down, like, moving from Pakistan to India, India to Pakistan. So much violence happens. Communal riots happened during that partition, right? So to deal with that, Armed Forces Special Powers Act were also used in 1947. However, in Northeast context, this act becomes in prominence after 1958. Okay, after 1958, we see this act coming in full force, particularly in the areas of Assam and Manipur. That time, Assam had Naga areas, Mizo areas as well. All right, even Meghalaya areas. So in Assam and Manipur, this act was enacted to counter the Naga insurgency. So the movement, Nagaland movement, was going on around this time. Okay, and a lot of Naga insurgency, the formation of NSCN-IN from Naga National Council. Okay, so the breakaway from NNC, that is Naga National Council, to forming NSCN. So to control that problem, Armed Forces Assam and Manipur Special Powers Act 1955 was initiated. Then this act was later extended to other northeastern states as well, including Arunachal, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura. So all the other states also was under APSC Act. So APSC Act's origin comes from Quit India movement. Then in post-independence, it was to control the partition-related violence. And after that, directly, it was to deal with the northeastern insurgency problem. So we can say ASFA was always used in Northeast, until now it is there. Okay, till now it is there in some parts. All right. Then in 1990, we see ASFA being used in Jammu and Kashmir because of that, radicalization in Jammu and Kashmir, and then we see a lot of terrorist groups coming in from Pakistan side, attacking the Kashmiri Pandits and all those, right? So there was also a communal violence in Jammu and Kashmir during time, particularly with Kashmiri Pandits and the radical groups. So history of ASFA is much older in Northeast than Jammu and Kashmir. All right, that was ASFA. What are the provisions? First of all, use of power. Okay, armed forces or army or any armed force can use force even to the extent of causing death against any person acting in contravention of law or order in a disturbed area. First of all, to implement armed forces, you have to declare an area a disturbed area. Who does this declaration of disturbed area?
Sir, governor.
Governor? Is it? So the first thing is the area has to be declared disturbed. Then when an area is disturbed, the armed forces can, under the law, can target any person who is acting against the law and order of the disturbed area. For example, in Manipur right now, we see a lot of areas are disturbed. It has been marked as disturbed. All right. And in the disturbed area, an armed forces.
কোনে মার্ক কৰে বুলি কৈছিলে
Haha.
কোনে মার্ক কৰে বুলি কৈছিলে স্যার ডিস্টার্ব এরিয়া বুলি
First of all, the state legislature has to see if they can control the law and order. If not, under the president's, that is by governor will recommend to president, and by the act of parliament, they will declare any area disturbed, and president gives the sign to to the armed forces that this is a disturbed area, take some actions, right? The procedure is starting from state legislature itself. Or if the parliament feels the state legislature is not being able to control any area regarding law and order, they can pass APSC Act on that particular state, right? Fine. So they can first use force that can lead to the death of any person. Okay, that can lead to the death of any person if the armed forces feel that that person has been acting in contravention of law and order. Contravention means against law and order. Okay. Then they can arrest. They can arrest without warrant also. Okay, anyone who has committed a cognizable offense. What is a cognizable offense? Can anyone tell me what is a cognizable offense? Cognizable offense. What is a cognizable offense? Prince, Vaishali.
So murder এইবিলাক পৰে নেকি?
Any serious crime, theft, okay, any serious crime. Cognizable means what? Very simply, cognizable means those where police authority has the power to make arrest, okay, without a warrant is cognizable, meaning any serious crime someone does, okay, any serious crime like what? Like for example murder, for example rape, for example, robbery that is leading to murder and all those, right? So that is a cognizable, serious crimes, all right? So armed forces can arrest without a warrant during this time, or against whom reasonable suspicion exists. So see, whether you commit a cognizable crime or not, this second line, if the armed forces feel that they are, that person is suspicious, they will make the arrest without any warrant. Normally in India that does not apply, right? Normally Indian law say what? Preventive detention, punitive detention, remember? They have to explain the reason for why you are being arrested or detained, right? Not arrested, but detained by police. But here, if the police or if the armed forces feel that there is a suspicion on certain person, he can be taken without a warrant, right? That is the second clause. Third is saying search and seizure. The armed forces can use force to search the houses, premises, wherever they're staying, these people of suspicion, without any warrant, to recover arms, ammunition, and other incriminating material. Okay, to recover arms, ammunition, or other incriminating material. Now, if you look at this law, those who have not experienced it, okay, those who have not experienced it personally, they will not understand. But you ask the people of Manipur till now, when their houses are searched without any reason, without any warrant, just because there is a suspicion or suspiciousness, how would you feel? If you were in their shoes, how would you feel? Tell me very honestly. Let's just discuss this like on a societal level or on a very human level.
So it will feel like we don't have any power.
It will feel like you don't have any power. And that's what is happening in a lot of places where AFSPA is there. When people feel powerless, okay, when people feel powerless, you revolt against the power. Simple. When people feel powerless, they will revolt against the power. And sometimes there is a whole lot of debate that why do Indian government need Armed Forces Act? Yes, their justification is to control the insurgency, to control anti-India movements and all those problems in the northeast and some parts of the country. But if you really regard your citizens, if you really respect your citizens, you will not go to that extreme, right? You have the highest, or you have the strongest intelligence network in the world, one of the strongest intelligence network in the world, and you can't identify who is a militant and who is a citizen. That question comes in human rights and all. Okay, so the problem is, when your houses are searched, these powerless people become very, very angry with the power who is doing that. So if I come to your house, princess house, and I say, like, open your dish one, I'll, like, I will not even ask them to open, I'll open it myself. If I open your fridge, if I open your, kitchen, bedroom, how would you feel? You'll not like it, right? You'll not like it. So you start brewing hate against the armed forces. So when people say, this Manipuri people are anti-India anyways, all these Northeastern people are anti-India anyways, it's not because we are anti-India because our nature is like that. It's because the Armed Forces Special Powers Act made it like that for us. We never felt Indian in our homes. If someone comes to your home without permission, till now, if someone opens your gate, you will scream, hey, who are you? Who are you? You'll question that. But then our armed forces person will come, search your house, search your bedroom, search your things. And sometimes, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them take advantage of this. And they molest young girls. It has been noted in Manipur. Okay, Manorama case, read Manorama case in 2000s. What happened? Out of suspicion, a girl was taken, then her body was found later. Right? So those cases have happened. All right? They'll search your house, they'll take away all your gifts, important gifts or money. Sometimes there is corruption everywhere in the society. So that is why people get angry. And that is why especially people from Manipur and Nagaland do not like the armed forces so much. Now you understand the context. Okay, now you understand the context. Why they hate armed forces sometimes. All right, fine. Not everything you need to blame the people. Sometimes the action is enough. Then they have the right to destroy structures. So any structure that is being used as hideout, fortified position, or for storing arms can be destroyed. That's what Armed Forces Special Powers say. But there has been so many reports regarding breaking of simple farm barns, simple farm storehouse also, thinking as hideout or, strong room for arms. And there is immunity from prosecution. So no prosecution or legal proceeding can be initiated against any person acting under APSC. Meaning those armed forces, those who are violating also, they have immunity. They have no legal cases. So when people know this, they can do anything they want if there are corrupt individuals. And I know even in the armed forces, there will be some corrupt individuals. Okay, there are. Not everyone is Mahatma Gandhi. Many are Nathuram Godse also. All right. Then declaration of disturbed area. How does it do? Your question. Governor of a state or central government can declare area as disturbed if it is in dangerous or disturbed condition, that the use of armed forces in aid of civil power is necessary. Civil power referring to the police. Okay, police. So current application under APSC, we have in Nagaland, very few parts of Assam, like particularly Upper Assam, bordering, Arunachal and Nagaland. Manipur, excluding the Imphal municipal area, so whole of Manipur, you would say armed forces is there. Just Imphal is left out, and Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, and Arunachal Pradesh. And in other states, Jammu and Kashmir is there. All right. Withdrawal, Tripura has lifted it in 2015, Meghalaya lifted it in 2018, and Mizoram lifted it or withdrew it in 1980s. Okay. However, we are seeing reductions in the Armed Forces Act in Assam, Manipur, and Nagaland in recent years. Okay, slowly, trust building, more than force, trust building is being initiated by the government of India, which is a welcoming step. Okay, which is a welcoming step. right? So instead of using force to control insurgency in India, particularly in Northeast, you need to build the trust of the people. There is a difference. When you use force with the Northeast people, you'll get the force back. Simple as that. That's how it works with the Northeastern people. Our mindsets are like that. Because we are not used to, when we are nice, but when we are violent, we are also violent. So the first thing to make a person violent in Northeast is to use force. And ASFA has been doing that. That's why the insurgency problem was so long. It continued for so long. But as soon as the government changed and they start bringing a new policy like development of Northeast, building trust with the Northeastern people, see the changes, automatically they're surrendering. Right? Automatically they're surrendering, they're believing in the peace process. So at the end, Northeastern people are peace loving. But when you force them to peace, they will also force back their violence. Okay, that's how it is. Okay, and it's with all people actually. All right. So this was Armed Forces Act. Now, arguments and favors, you read it on your own. Okay, what are the arguments for armed forces and what are the arguments against? Why ASFA should not be there? You read it on your own. All right. So we have these cases here. Many cases are there, mentioned in this document. So please go through those. Okay, please go through those cases. Fine. That was a little bit about your Armed Forces Act. Okay, from Assam budget. So in Assam budget 2026, the finance minister said we are rolling back, okay, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. Okay, once it was covering the whole state. Now only 3 districts, that too not a whole of district. Some parts of these 3 districts only have your ASFA Act. Okay, fine. All right. Okay. Then under policing and law and order, Assam government has set up 5 new commando battalions and has recruited all over 22,000 police personnel, okay, in the last 5 years. Okay. Then we have established Losit Borfukon Police Academy. All right. The new commissioner of police in Guwahati, 2 new district jails in Bodoland territorial region, and constructed 112 police stations under Moitri scheme. So this is very important. What is Moitri scheme? Okay, what is Moitri scheme? Let's go to Moitri scheme. Moitri scheme was launched by Assam government, okay, to upgrade police stations. Okay, to upgrade police stations so that the police stations are more responsive, more accessible, and citizen friendly. Okay, the primary goal was to improve the infrastructure of the police station, enhance public safety, and build trust among police and the community. Okay, the scheme was introduced in July 2016. So 10 years have passed. So important point. All right. And the original plan was to develop infrastructure for 345 police stations over 5 years. All right, like I said, Moitri scheme wanted to provide better working conditions, welcoming environment for people to come into site police station, and ensure quick response from the police and build community trust. However, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India reported that this Moitri scheme partially failed. Why? Because as of 2022, 48 out of 119 police stations that under first and second phases remain incomplete still. Okay, the target was 345 in 5 years from 2017 to 2022. What is the finance report saying? Let's go back to the finance speech. How many? 112 police stations have only been constructed under Moitri. So it is partially failed scheme, right? So there are more, around 200 more are there to be developed. Okay, so but don't focus on the challenge as of now. Focus on the Moitri scheme as directly. So 2016 it was launched. Now it has been 10 years, right? However, Assam ranked first in implementing the new criminal laws that we have, including Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So we are the first in the country to implement all the criminal laws. Okay, around 78% of the new laws have already been incorporated, beating the national average of 53.69%. All right, and then these are some schemes that you will read. I will not teach you all this because I have given already. Prohibition of Child Marriage Act in Assam. You go through that scheme for this year also. Mukhyamantri Nijut Moina. What is Nijut Moina? What is Nijut Moina?
Financial assistance to girl students.
Financial assistance to girls, okay? Financial assistance to the girls. Right? Okay. So Nijut Moina you'll do. Prohibition of Child Marriage Act you will do, okay, of Assam. So please read this, whatever I'm marking. Assam Prohibition of Polygamy Act 2025, right? So questions might be asked on this, like, does Assam polygamy ban on polygamy applies to all?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Who are exempted?
Scheduled areas are excluded.
Scheduled tribes. Why are tribal communities exempted? Why are tribal communities exempted?
Because they has their own custom.
Yeah, because of the customary laws. The strong customary laws of tribals enables them to, keep their community in check. Okay. Many tribal communities in Site Northeast do not agree on polygamy anyways. Okay. There are few communities. Okay. But in tribal communities, once you want to get married again, you have to give a formal supplication to the society, okay, to the overall society. And if the society accepts, then only you get the permission actually. Otherwise, you are outcasted from the tribe or community. So because of those, they were exempted. Fine. All right. So you read this scheme also, very, very important. Act. Okay. So we have two acts so far: prohibition of child marriage and polygamy. Okay. Then schemes. Number 1, Nijut Moina. Very, very important for you. Please go through that. Number 1, Nijut Moina. All right, let's see Nijut Moina, anything difference comes or not. Then second scheme, Orunodoi. What is Orunodoi? Can anyone tell? Orunodoi scheme?
Financial assistance to women.
Financial assistance to women.
Yes, sir.
Remember this, not only women, to also Divyangjan, transgender, and other vulnerable groups. Okay, so this is a key important statement. It not only includes to women. All right, fine. So please go through Orunodoi scheme. Then the third scheme mentioned under the budget. So when you have to do Assam-based schemes, just read the finance budget every year by the finance minister. All the schemes are mentioned, and that is where your questions will come from. Very, very simply. So Mukhyamantri Mohila Udyamita Abhiyan. Right? Mohila is written directly. So obviously it is for women, those who are under self-help group. Okay, providing what? Providing rupees 10,000. Okay, as seed capital for what? To start their business or self-help group. They can start their own self-help group and do something, entrepreneurship. Under that, we also have Lakpoti Baido scheme. Very, very important. What is Lakpoti Baido scheme? Can anyone remember? Does anyone remember? Lakpoti Baido.
3,000 টাকা কে দিয়ে নাকি স্যার monthly?
No, you
sir.
please.
10,000 one time 10,000 then sir for second installment will be was
Yeah. So you please go through these schemes. When we return with the other batches regarding Assam based schemes, you have to be focused. At least Guwahati students I expect, because everything has been given to you. Okay. So please read those schemes again. Today you do all the schemes properly in your free time. Okay, in your self-study time you do these schemes directly. The direct questions can come, direct numbers. Okay. Then the third scheme, fifth scheme. Scheme number 5, Assam Microfinance Incentive and Relief Scheme of AMFIRS 2021. Okay, 2021. So this is for relief for small borrowers, those who could not pay money, and those who took money during pandemic time, they could not borrow, they cannot pay back. So Assam government has provided relief for these people. Okay, relief for these people. Then another scheme, Mukhyamantrir Etikoli Duti Pat, one-time assistance of rupees 5,000 to whom? Tea garden workers. Okay, one-time assistance to tea garden workers. All right, fine. Then Chief Minister's Atmanirbhar Akham Abhijan. Another important. What is it saying? Financial assistance of rupees 1 lakh per beneficiary to more than 25,000 beneficiaries, and rupees 2.5 lakh to 221 professional category beneficiaries. Right? So please read this Atmanirbhar Assam Abhijan, very, very important. Okay, alongside this document, alongside this Assam budget document. All right. Then we also have some widow pension, okay, which has been increased from rupees 300 to 1250, right? All pension schemes, money has been for vulnerable sections, it has been revived. Okay, keywords, vulnerable sections. All pension scheme from 250 to 400, widow pension from 300 to 1250. All right, under National Social Assistance Program. So you please mark this also. Okay, then Shahid Kusal Kumar Sarvajanin Briddha Pension Asoni. Okay, this is again with alliance or in line with National Old Age Pension Scheme. Okay, so you have to go through these schemes, you have to go through these programs very, very carefully. All right, so you have some national schemes mentioned also, National Old Age Pension Scheme. So please read this. Form 1, you go read these national schemes. Okay, you go through these national schemes. The rest of you have to see how is it aligning with the state scheme. Okay, for example, here also PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, you read that also. Okay, these are mentioned directly on this budget, so it is very, very important for this year. No, don't look anywhere else. Even if I gave
Sir, এইবোৰ স্কিমবোৰ চাব কাৰণে Assam financial budget চালে হ'ল ন sir?
If you're appearing for UPSC, just read the Assam budget speech. Okay, 2026, you'll find it online. But if you don't know, if you don't want to read the whole thing, just mark these schemes. Okay, the list of the schemes that I'm giving you, just write it down in your copy or something. All right, so these are very, very important schemes where we can expect some questions. Right, I'm giving you tricks for later on also. Once you are done with me, once your course is done with me, you can do it on your own then after that. Okay, I don't have to be there. All right, just I'm saying, because it's better to learn how to fish than to give you one fish every day. So I'm that kind of teacher who like to teach you how to fish. Then you do your fishing on your own way. Whether you get 1, whether you get 10, doesn't matter anymore. But at least you know how to fish. Okay, so I'm teaching you how to fish. I'm not giving you mass every day. If I keep giving you mass and freebies like how our present government is giving, you'll become lazy. So please learn how to get information out from the internet. All right. You might read so many institutions after institutions you'll buy, or you'll subscribe to their current affairs magazine and all those nonsense. It's good. I'm not saying it's bad. They compile it for you. They make it easy for you. But train your brain in such a way that you can analyze it on your own. So I've downloaded this speech from government site, and I see all the schemes here. So I'll read from here. If I'm smart enough, I will not buy anything. Okay, everything is free. Actually, information should be free. Information is free. So I'm directing you to, I'm asking you and requesting you to go through all the schemes that are mentioned here. That is your question paper for current affairs schemes. Okay, if I have to prepare a question on schemes alone, I'll just read through this budget. Whatever I get, I'll ask from there only. So then you'll say, sir, I did not get all this in class. Of course, not everything will be taught in class. So I'm giving you a trick. All right, fine. So these are the things. Then we have seen a decline in maternal mortality ratio, 44% declined. So please know what is maternal mortality ratio. For economics term also, it is very, very important. All right, fine. We also have seen improvement in infant mortality rate. Okay, fine. These are some important socio ratings, okay, that we need to focus. Our government has supported 1.16 lakh pregnant women in tea garden areas with rupees 15,000 each under tea garden wage compensation scheme. So please mark this also, tea garden wage compensation scheme. Okay, then we have another scheme called Ayushman Okham, Mukhyamantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Okay, that is another important one. All right, so see, we are seeing so many things in one document itself. Okay, we have so many things in one document. Government is planning to build 10 more medical colleges. All right, we have doubled our medical colleges from 7 to 14, and we are looking for more 10 medical colleges. All right, keep that information. Okay, then Assam Advanced Healthcare Innovation Institute. Okay, we are making a prototype for surgical robots. Okay, surgical robots. Then proton therapy machine in GMCH. So all this information will come for other government examinations also. Where is this proton therapy machine? In Guwahati, in Jorhat. So those type of questions you might expect in your ADRE level. All right. Then Assam Cancer Care Foundation has been established. We know with Tata, right? In fact, one is there in Karbi Anglong itself, right? So those are certain things that you need to focus. So I will not go on more. I'll finish the class here. So please read the budget. Okay, read the speech of the finance minister. Go through all the documented schemes out there and the laws, the new laws that have come under Assam government. All right. So please do that. Do your part properly. You can't expect the teacher to give you revision. You have to do your own revision. So please go through that Assam budget speech. If you need, just message me, sir, I need it. I will send it to you if you can't find it online. Okay, but please do your research first and then you ask. Okay, so all the schemes details you'll find it online anyways or in my notes. If you don't find anything, you tell me, I'll supplement. Okay, I'm ready to help you in that way, but do not expect everything to be given at one shot, right? Because we also do a lot of other works. So that is why I'm saying first go through this document fully. You go through this document and all the schemes that are mentioned. Some of the schemes so directly have been mentioned about, the prices and everything, how much money it has been increased, directly mentioned also in some of them. So for example, out here Jivan Premna is there, financial assistance of 2,500, everything is mentioned directly also. So please go through this document, very, very important document for your Assam-based economy and Assam-based budget. So this is this, okay, speech.
Sir, paisyo. Sir, Okhomia ase no prothomot, sir? Okhomia likha ase.
Good. No, this is English
Paisyo sir
translation.
kintu. Acha.
This is English translation.
Dangor eta paisyo.
This is English translation. You get in Assamese also. Those who want to read in Assamese also, they can read, okay? Assamese version is also there. So there she mentioned a song, okay, about a song by Bhupen Hazarika. So please remember this also. What song is it? From which album or which, song it is, the name of the song. ঠিক আছে? So try to find out this song. Anyways, so we will stop here. Okay, your economy, most of the concepts has been covered, right? Now only thing left is that you focus on your revision. Okay, we have 3 more hours for the Assam based class. So in these 3 hours, like, at least take out 1 hour and just go through the budget and just keep it ready with you. Okay, so that in the evening, according to the list, you'll just revise. All right, fine. Okay, all right, then we'll end the class here. I'll see you later.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
yeah.
Sir.